down? Yes? So yesterday we talked about pushing ourselves as readers, and how in this unit we're going to consider the individual and who they are, but also think about relationships between characters and how those relationships play a role in the story. More importantly, what we can learn from those relationships, and how what we read in a book can make us better people, better friends, better brothers, better sisters, better humans. Okay? And we're going to start that today. Today we take the first step to seeing how reading fiction can help us have better relationships in our own lives. It's not easy, but we're going to do it. So I'd like you to think, just remind yourself right now of the story between Will, or the story about Will and Skip. Just take 10 seconds right now. Think in your head, what's happening in that story? Okay, just think to yourself quietly. All right, can someone summarize what's going on in that story so far? Any volunteers? Just tell me in a sentence what happened. Should I demonstrate? What happened? What happened in the story? Tell Dave, he wasn't here yesterday. What happened in the story? Kate.
Will and his brother and Will went to his mother's room to tell her mother that they thought about their children.
We'll stop there, because actually yesterday I read too much of the story, remember? But Dave, Will had this argument with his brother because his brother took a big ball of Scotch tape and stuck it in his head. Right? A big ball, a whole roll. I mean, like, this is this much tape. Imagine the whole roll. It's going to be a big thing of Scotch tape. It's going to be great. So, turn and tell your partner right now how you would categorize Will and Skip's relationship. How would you categorize it? What would you say about it? Turn and tell your partner. And you guys here, or Eric, you're going to tell Dave what you think. Daniel and Sam, you guys talk together. Kate and Yeonju, pair. Stella, Tiffany, pair. Three of you together here. You're in Dixie. Okay, so Lucas and Daniel. Tommy, you're going to tell Jake. Why are you here? Where's your group? So you go talk to Freddie there.
Skip and the brother and the person with the two characters. Things like the relationship is like a family. Like the brother and sister, like having a love life.
It's like
It's different, like walking around.
they are.
No, it's not talking. We're talking about the last episode, the brother and the.
All right. Now, give me a thumbs up if you would categorize their relationship as negative. Would you say they have a negative relationship? It's not very good. Give me a thumbs up if you agree that their relationship is not very good. Okay, I see most thumbs. Okay, so what we're going to do, We're going to go through a quick process to help us think about these relationships. And it looks like this. Okay? First it says ID relationship. So identify the relationship. We're going to think about Will and Skip. Okay? Next, we're going to weigh the positive and negatives. Okay, so our initial reaction to this relationship is that it's negative. So we're going to go back and look and ask ourselves why we feel that way. Daniel, stop doing that, please. You're going to hurt your eyes. They're going to get stuck in the back of your head. So I'm going to go back to the story. I'm looking for reasons why I feel this is generally a negative relationship. Okay? I was sitting at my desk in my bedroom practicing my signature. My brother came in and asked me if I wanted to throw a ball around or shoot baskets. No, I said. So he looked over my shoulder at my signatures, went into the bathroom for a few seconds, came out, went to his own desk, unraveled an entire roll of Scotch tape, and stuck it on my head. And so I'm thinking about that. Right? This mean big brother. You just said you didn't want to play, and now you got a head full of Scotch tape. Also, I knew very well why he had done it. The same reason he stuffed me in the laundry hamper and tied me to a chair. I'm thinking, not so good of a brother there. But what about this one? So now Will's trying to get the tape out of his head, and his brother tries. Right? So he tried, and I yelled, and he stopped. Then he gently pulled a piece of the Scotch tape off the side of my head, along with 6 or 7 temple hairs. Okay, now, the first time I read this, I wasn't really paying that close attention, but now that I look at it again, I realize that this is actually positive. So what do you hear in here that's positive? What do you hear in here that's positive? I'm going to read it again, okay? Daniel, please give Sam back his glasses. Okay? Take a moment to remind yourself how we behave on the carpet. Okay? So I'm going to read this short piece again, and I want you to tell me what in it is positive. Okay? So Fred, what are you going to tell me after I read it? That's right. What's the positive part? So he tried, and I yelled, and he stopped. Then he gently pulled a piece of the Scotch tape off the side of my head, along with 6 or 7 temple hairs. But tell your partner, what's positive about that? They're wrong. Ask Yeonju what's positive about that. Kate, do you want to tell her? Tell Yeonju, then she'll tell us. Okay, thank you. That's right. The brother, well, first he stopped, right? When Will yelled, Skip stopped, right? Now, if he was a really bad brother, he wouldn't have stopped. He would have kept pulling it out. And then he gently, right, like this, right? He gently pulled off the Scotch tape along with 6 or 7 hairs. Now, if he was a horrible big brother, he'd try to rip off hundreds of hairs, removing that Scotch tape, right? But he didn't do that. So this adds a new dimension to this relationship, right? So some new evidence Okay, at first, you know, we should think of it like this. Okay, like a scale, all right? And this is negative, right? These are bad things that Skip does to Will, right? So at first, it's like this. Much more bad stuff compared to the good stuff, the nice things, right? He throws him in the hamper, he ties him to a chair, puts a scotch tape in his head, right? So we're weighing the good and the bad. At first, it's real bad. But then we see that he gently removes the scotch tape, so it kind of goes back a little. All right, see that? So what I'm doing, I choose the relationship, so Skip and Will, and I'm weighing, right, like this. I'm weighing the positive and negative. And I'm finding the details in the story that allow me to do that. Now, what I do with that is think about how I should act with my friends, with my family, with my loved ones. Right? Because if I see something, if I see a positive relationship in the story, I got to think to myself, this is something I should do with my friend. Or this is something I shouldn't do with my brother or sister. Okay? And do you guys know do you know where this poster came from? Where was it before today? Where, Daniel? Tiffany, you don't know? Kate? Stella, it was over your head all year. Next to the clock. It was up on the wall next to the door. So that you'd see it every time you leave the room. Right? So this tells us ways to work toward more positive relationships. Right? And this is an example of what you could learn from a book as you read. Right? You observe these relationships, you think about them, you analyze them, and you pull things that are going to make you a better person. Right? Based on the way the characters interact in the story. Okay, so this is how you can use your story, use the relationships of the characters in the story to make yourself better. Okay? So what I'd like you to do now is go through this process with your partner. So choose a relationship. Okay? Weigh the positive and negatives. And you go like this. In chapter 1 it was like this, but then they were nice to each other. And share the details that make you think that way. And then find something that you learn from it. Like, they have a positive relationship because they really pay attention to each other when they talk. Right? Or this whole problem started, this fight, Skip and Will, it started because they reacted too quickly. So in my life, I'm going to try to avoid overreacting and thinking. I'm going to think before I act when I have a problem. Okay? So give this a try with your book, with your partner right now. Follow these steps. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? Go ahead. So which character are you talking about? Which relationship?
India is like India and
What
Japan.
relationship are you guys talking
The
about?
relationship is positive negative. But the negative side first is that the father doesn't take care because he has a lot of work and family work.
And is it a good one or a bad one?
That's why
What makes it?
that's what they very negative. But sometimes it gets positive when the father makes a better choice for the daughter, and also talking about a little bit for checking for.
Sorry. All right, guys. So as you go back to your tables today, right, what you need to be thinking about is this do and don'ts list. Okay, so we're going to think about the do's and don'ts, things that you want to do in your own relationships, things that you don't want to do. All right, so if you were giving someone advice on how to maintain or keep positive relationships, you can say, do these things, don't do these things. All right, so you're going to learn those. You're going to build like a repertoire of examples and skills based on the relationships you analyze and observe in your book. Okay? So as you get back to your desks, notebooks open, right? All of your thoughts go on the page. I'm anxious to see how you did last night and how you're doing with your books. Okay? So head back to your desks. Sit with your partners. Yes.